Boom. We're recording.
All right. So what's the description?
Finding balance with Sister Latavia Mabilla Django.
Okay. I hope that does give it balance. So
Yeah.
and a lot of times we have to wait for people to join. But tell me what?
Well, so it started and then it decided it was buffering, but it's recording now. We're live. So I guess we'll give it a couple minutes to get people
Well, we should start with a question.
in the room.
Pick up where they leave off.
Okay.
Something.
Okay.
Because this was already stressfully hard enough.
Absolutely.
Just to
Absolutely.
That's the thing we have to, let's be honest about.
Yes.
We have not,
the struggle.
Our medium tech savviness.
We needed some millennials in the house for the last hour, for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm visiting you on campus. I had no idea, that this property was huge, and I've been here several times, but I had no idea the amount of land that you have on the back of this property. You don't ever have to leave this place at all, ever, if you don't want to.
No, I don't.
That's beautiful.
Which is why I'm here most of the time.
Yeah.
I don't.
I'm
thankful.
I love it. Yeah.
Thankful.
So I was really grateful when you hit me up this morning and asked me to meet up, because I always leave your presence feeling some sort of balance. Just in terms of like if I'm maybe unsure or, whatever. And you might not even speak to specifically what I'm unsure about, but just the fact that you're always so consistent it's helpful to me. So thank you for that. So we have got a few people on live. Hey people. So my biggest thing, I'm so tired. So the first Black death at the hands of police that I actually remember experiencing in my lifetime was Oscar Grant, which was, if I remember, January 1st, 2000. Was it 9? I think it was 2009. And then since then, it's been consistently boom, 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 boom. So as most of the people that are watching know, we've had 3 deaths by the hands of police in the last 24 hours in Indianapolis. What do you say to people like me who are just so tired? And I know that there's more to it than this, but my gut response is trying to reconnect again, but I'm just gonna keep talking.
Mm-hmm.
My gut response is, when are we gonna shoot back?
Okay.
What do you say to that?
Jump right in there. I think it's appropriate for people to defend themselves in whatever position or whatever manner that they're forced to at this point. And you or anyone can take that to mean whatever you will, because I am not, you are not, no one watching is standing in someone else's shoes. So what is more unreasonable to me is to ask someone to go quietly to the death camp. That's more unreasonable.
Mm-hmm.
So I do not find it inappropriate to tell someone, myself, my children, you, anyone. I would say that if cooperation is working and respect is mutual, that's great. But police officers are not the only ones who fear for their lives. And I think that it is unreasonable to, at this point, tell young people or any people that they do not have the right to defend themselves in whatever manner they feel forced to when they are encountering law enforcement. I can't be more clear than that. That is consistently my position on the matter. I do know, like I think everybody knows, that Black communities, I can't even say poor communities or underprivileged communities. I can't say that. Black communities specifically, and Black people specifically, no matter the economic demographics they fit within
Mm-hmm.
are policed differently
Mm-hmm.
than any other people in this country.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a fact.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, Black people will have to individually and collectively determine that they are willing to respond in alignment with that difference, not because of that difference. And what that means to each individual may vary, but it has to be based on that knowledge that you're being policed differently.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely. So I see that people are watching, but I'm not seeing any questions. Um, Please feel free to send questions. If you have questions for Sister Latava, now is the time.
So I will say this. Um, it took a little time for me to get the calls. I had been missing some calls and messages last night before I got the news about one brother, then another brother, and a woman
Yeah.
who were killed last night. So within 24 hours, in case anybody who happens upon this does not recognize what we're talking about.
Right.
My home city, Naptown, we experienced the last 24 hours 3 individuals' lives taken at the hands of police officers, and the response to that has varied across this city. And I'm sure it will vary across the country like it always does.
Mm-hmm.
I'm home, the borders are closed,
Mm-hmm.
and so I've been here for a good while, a bit
Yeah.
longer than I typically am, because the borders are closed. And in moments like this, I have to be thankful that I am.
Yeah.
I would say that we need to be mindful of some significant things. One, I would always speak for myself. I don't align myself with any law enforcement, state legislation, local political agendas. I don't align myself with anything that they've got going on, or any individuals who align themselves with those agendas. So I want to say that crystal clearly. They all did it. They all did it. I'm adamant about that. I have consistently been adamant about that. There is no pick and choose. It doesn't matter the color of the officers. They align with blue, and we need to be honest with ourselves about that. I think there's a lot of sincere people. So there's a lot of people who were organizing protests and things of that nature. People turned out last night when one of the shootings occurred. People turned out in significant numbers and really wanted to kind of get into a rah-rah momentary, fireside chat. The fire in the belly of the people is a good thing. That's always a good thing. But I'm also mindful that we have to recognize, and I think particularly a lot of young people, and also a lot of new people who are new to the fight, regardless to their age, do not recognize when they're being manipulated by the police. Not all police officers wear uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do have to say this. The police aren't always in uniform. And the police is not always on the payroll. Some of these Negroes volunteer to work on behalf of the police department. It is the truth. So let me break down some of the police activity. Police activity gives you what you got today. Rah-rah session, the people turn up because the shit done got wild. The injustice has happened, the people turn out immediately on the scene. Mm-hmm. Shit pops off.
Emotions. But
police activity is, they'll feed that and stoke that for a moment, and then they squash it. Okay, y'all, we're gonna meet up again later. Let's go home tonight, and we're gonna come back for a prayer vigil tomorrow, or that. All that's police conduct. Mm-hmm. Then by the next day, because I've seen this going on right now, you got 5 different bits of information being passed around. People get misinformation as to what time, what location. That's police activity. It's the modern day COINTELPRO, if you will. Mm-hmm. See, COINTELPRO doesn't have to function the way it used to because Negroes don't organize the way they used to. It used to be black think tanks and things of that nature. Those don't really exist right now on a large scale like they at one time did. And perhaps if someone watching this is unfamiliar with anything that I'm saying, I'm more than happy to clarify, or have another conversation at another time. But I recognize that you got a lot of sincere people who turn up for protests. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of sincerely fed up people who do turn out for injustice, and they want shit to get handled. They really mean well. They are so sincere, but they don't recognize when they're being mishandled by police and law enforcement informants. They don't recognize it because they haven't really navigated those circles enough. And so I cannot not say that. And then I've had a lot of people try to caution me, and I'm saying that in quotations, because the average Negro with middle class aspirations will always try to tell you don't get in trouble with the police. Fuck the police.
Mm-hmm. All
You
day,
understand what I'm
every day.
saying? Like,
All day, every day.
you should not have to make decisions or make statements based on what somebody else is going to think about you speaking your truth. So just because that's someone else's truth, they waste their energy or breath to try to put that off on me. I don't do fear mongers. That's number one. I guess it might be number two. But the reality is, people try to caution you for that, and then they try to tell you, well, one of the brothers was reportedly armed. So fucking what?
We live in a state where...
So what?
Yeah.
I'm saying, and I'm just going to speak straight to this because someone says, well, you can't defend this brother, Reed. His last name was Reed. Was his Sean Reed?
Sean Reed.
He led them on a chase, and he had a gun, and they said he shot at the police. I don't care. So what? And people take my position on that to say I'm defending somebody in wrong. Mm-hmm. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not defending him in wrong. I'm defending his right to be wrong and live to be convicted about it.
Right.
I'm defending his right to be wrong, to be illegal, to be in poor taste, to be drunk, high, blind, crippled, and crazy. I would defend his right to do all that. He could be fucking up. He could be shooting up. He got the right to do all of that and still have his day in court.
Absolutely.
In 24 hours, IMPD killed 3 different individuals, while in that same 24-hour period went on 2 separate high-speed police chases with 2 separate Caucasian males and managed to take both of their raggedy asses to jail. And what I'm defending is my black child's right to be wrong as your white child's right. My child has the right to be wrong and still pay and be responsible for it. Mm-hmm. My child has the right to be wrong and not be sentenced to death in the field. I do not pay in my tax dollars. You do not pay in your tax dollars. Unlike, if you think back, at one time, IMPD had a police chief, Rick Heights, where he flat out stated they had the only job where they get paid to kill their customers. And sooner than later, we have to prove him wrong. Because that is a culture. That is a culture within the police departments across this country. They all think that. Mm-hmm. In poor taste, he said it. Mm-hmm. But all of their raggedy asses think it. They all live that culture that they have the right to kill our children. They have the right to kill black people. And sooner than later, black people have to say, no, the fuck you don't. So if you ask me, well, when do we shoot back? Did you feel like your life was in danger?
That's when you shoot.
You legally have the right to defend your life.
Yes.
You naturally have the right to defend your life. Right. I'm never going to not say that.
Right. And you're born with that right. Nobody had to give it
Nobody gave it to you. And nobody can take it away from you. But you can surrender it.
Yeah.
But you don't have to.
Right. Yeah, I was really disturbed today by some of the conversations that I heard when I was at the protest.
Like what?
Someone mentioned that he thought that they had a gun, or that Sean had a gun, or that he busted off some shots or whatever. One, I saw the live. He did not shoot. He was running. I mean, we see the man in the car. We see him jump out the car. We see him take out. It's on camera. You see the police officer's shells jumping off this man's back. But my thing is, it's not illegal to have a gun in Indiana. So what if he did? What does him having a gun have to do with the fact that they shot this man in the back for no reason?
Well, I will tell you one thing that I can say to this young man's credit. Whether he had a gun, don't know.
Yeah.
Whether he fired a shot, don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whether he did any of that, whether he was on a chase with the police, I don't know any of that. But I can tell you one thing that he did do in the laying his life down, which he did, he documented in indisputable fashion the process by which police cover up and the process by which they kill our children for sport. No person who is an experienced shooter should take the life of another person lightly. No trained marksman, anybody who has any relationship with a firearm will tell you, one of the earliest things you accept right off with the responsibility of being a firearm owner is you know you do not pull that trigger lightly. No one should be able to, in their right mind, drop the body of some kid, 19 years old, and laugh,
make jokes,
talk shit, and if they didn't think they did anything wrong,
why did they erase it?
Not just why did you erase it? Before we even get to that, this is the thing you gotta love about millennials. Millennials are some of the smartest, creative, just innovative individuals. They're the most brilliant pains in the ass you ever want to encounter. And most of my children are millennials, so I can say that.
Facts.
Definitively,
Facts.
I can say that.
Facts.
But it's more brilliant than having a young person going live. It's the ability for other young people to record the live on their phone that's going live, because they know they do this because they know they got to cover their asses from them hunkies who taking their lives, even the hunkies that are black. But the thing is, he showed how if they thought they were doing something right, at the end of the video, you got to crack a cover in his face when he realized, because they didn't first know, when he realized, oh shit, it's recording. Not that black people didn't already know how they do. We already know how they do. But this is hardcore proof that they cannot track down, chase down. They can't take the phone now because remotely, we don't need another agency to try to store documentation on our behalf. We have to do that ourselves. So in him giving his life, I say that means he didn't give it in vain. He did do that much. It's undeniable. It's undeniable. And that doesn't carry water at this point. It doesn't matter what their court systems say. What matters today is what the black community says. We have to stop waiting for somebody else to acknowledge our pain, to acknowledge the injustice done to us. Acknowledge it your damn self. Acknowledge it yourself. Black people already know everything we need to know. Even in our great and magnificent ignorance, there's plenty of things we already know that we need to know. And you know what we do know?
What's that?
People who shoot usually can't fight.
That's a fact. They're shooting because they can't fight. Facts. Yeah.
Them out of shape, fat ass, winded police can't chase these kids. They can't. Worst thing we could have ever done was let our children walk around with their pants down and getting obese. Because back in the day, the police knew they couldn't catch us. You can't catch these kids. The same way your ass can't catch a toddler, they can't catch niggas.
Right.
And they can't fight.
Right.
So they shoot.
These are cowards.
Black people already know this. So they need to stop being afraid of the police.
And we watch them cover it up time after time after time after time.
But in this scenario, they owned it. They did it openly without even realizing that they were doing it openly.
So what do we think the community response should be when they let this officer walk?
I don't think he'll walk because he's black.
Oh, it was a black officer. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, new word is that it's a black officer. And if that pans out to be true, I don't think he'll walk.
He won't. Okay.
That's number one. Number two, I think community response is not something that should be discussed on social media or in open forum.
Sure.
Number one. Number two, I would tell people, government does not ever fear you standing outside making a bunch of noise. They never fear your noise. I can tell you, as a dog owner, my dog barking at you is not when it's dangerous. It's when they go quiet. When she stops barking,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you really got a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not concerned as long as you're not disturbing their peace, as long as all you're doing is standing out there with a sign, as long as all you do is screaming into the ethers,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't bother them. They don't. That doesn't bother them. They don't mind that. As long as you protest in ways that they approve, that's perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not opposed to rioting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to come to your protest. That's not what's going to happen. I'm not going to stand there and lead a protest. I'm not going to ever encourage anybody to protest. That's a waste of energy. Riots are different.
Mm-hmm.
Riots are different. And remember, riots are not working to your favor in your own neighborhood. So if you riot in a place where the people look like you, or if you riot in a place where your mail comes, you're not doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to scream at the police in uniform. They live somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They go home.
Mm-hmm.
They go to bed. They stop for coffee.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that shit don't work just one way.
Right.
The same way they feel like it's power in numbers. They got a show of force. That's why they show up 5 cars deep. That's how they do. Well, okay.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to let them sleep easy at night. None of us slept easy at night. I didn't sleep easy at night. Did you sleep easy last night? I did not sleep well last night.
Mm-hmm.
Why did they go home and sleep like babies?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to be the only ones with sleepless nights.
Mm-hmm. Facts. If you guys have questions, now is the time. I don't know how much longer we're going to be on here.
Yeah, that's.
And I realize that the feed has been super glitchy. I know that. We're actually also recording. So believe you me, the things that you missed out on, you will get it back. When the recording is available, I'll make sure that it's shared. So, Sister Latavia's spitting fire like always. If you've ever seen her speak, you know she always speaks truth. And that's just that.
I do want to tell young people. A lot of times, young people feel like older people are not on their side, like we don't defend them enough, or we don't support them in their fire enough. And I just want to say, maybe the support of older people comes out in a way that doesn't register on your radar. So that's not true of all older people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a lot of older people who do always support young people in whatever, you know, flips y'all off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if it pisses you off, that's enough reason. It don't have to be the same reasons that piss me off.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want you to be well informed and intelligent. You know, I don't want you to just act out recklessly. You know, broad hostility, okay. But if you could focus your energy, that would be even better. Maybe that would make you more effective. And the truth is, revolution was always on the backs of young people. This isn't something new.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was always on the backs of young people. It was always young people who made the changes.
Mm-hmm.
It was never the old. But older people have a responsibility to give good counsel to young people. And we have the responsibility, not that I'm an elder, but we have a responsibility as older people with more experience to be able to point out the traps.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is me pointing out how you could get roped in by the police. You know, it's the police that start trying to turn you on to trying to coax you into doing shit you wouldn't necessarily be thinking of doing. It's the police that try to coax you into doing things like something that gets you a quick ride to the police station.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're the ones trying to tell you to be confused
mm-hmm.
in your protest.
Mm-hmm.
Or they'll tell you to do things that instead of making you effective, make you an easy target.
Mm-hmm.
And all I'm saying is, we've got the numbers. You know, disgruntled black people, you've got the numbers in that.
Mm-hmm.
What you need is the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't create an agenda of disruption if you're trying to, see, that's where people's conflict come in. You can't want to be part of the system and dismantle the system.
Right.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're trying to run for office, or if you're trying to get in with some grant money, or if you're trying to become part of that system, it's difficult for you to be disruptive to the status quo business as usual. Mm-hmm. And so you got to be mindful of that. And be mindful. Be mindful of them niggas who the police called to the scene. You know, they don't just show up. There's a whole lot of people who show up because the police called them on speed dial. You got to be mindful of that. You have to be mindful of that. There's a line, and we all stand on one side or the other. There is no way to straddle that line. And it ain't because I'm saying you can't be a cop and on our side, but apparently you can't be a cop and on our side.
Period.
That's just how it goes. So this is what it is. It's not because I'm saying, oh man, I don't like the police. No, I don't like the police.
Yeah.
I don't like them in uniform or not in uniform. As soon as you start acting like the police around me, you get the police-ish is enough. You ain't even gotta be the police. You got police-ish ways.
Like bacon.
Yeah, as soon as you start that shit, nah, I'm already done talking to you. I'm already done fucking with you. I don't want to take no picture next to you. I don't want to say, it ain't impressive that you call and let's power up. No.
Yeah.
You got to not need to be in with them. And you got so many people due to self-hatred and desperation who need to be accepted by these people. Okay, I can't be mad at you, but take that over there.
Yeah.
And stay on over there with it.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean by the people. We have to be mindful. And older people who've been in this struggle. I was politicized by the Michael Taylor case. So older people who've been in the struggle long enough to know how this shit moves. You know, we know what a sellout look like. We know when somebody done sold out the fight. You know, because that was another time where the shit was turned up loud. And I can tell you, back then, it was college and high school students who turned this city upside down. It was when they rolled the tanks down College Avenue. I'm saying this is when the shit was live and in living color.
Yeah.
And at that
and
time,
that was 1984.
Easy.
Yeah.
And at that time, you got to be mindful that betraying the fight came in the form of, oh, we're going to settle it and party agreement. We're not going to talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
So when they can buy your silence, or today, betraying the fight comes in the form of you so busy want to be considered a, what do they call this shit now when niggas can be the police, but they got another term for it. Come on.
Like informant?
Oh, no, they all informants, but they call it something else like something, crime prevention, or I'm a something liaison, all kind of shit. Yeah. They come up with all these little cute titles, but all it means is you the police. Yeah. That's what it literally means.
Yeah.
That you work on their behalf talking to the community.
Yeah.
And as soon as you start seeing all these organizations that supposed to be black organizations, I told y'all this in Ferguson. We stood right out there in Ferguson and watched everybody who's supposed to be a traditionally black organization was working on behalf of the police, from the Nation, the Panthers, everybody who was supposed to, and it's just a fact.
That was wild to watch.
We watched them work on behalf of the police, and guess what? I bet you it wouldn't take me much to get on one of these devices right now. I can go on social media, go on Facebook, and watch them same niggas who's supposed to be pro-black talking about he killed himself, he did this, he shouldn't have been doing that. You don't have to be a saint to have rights. You have the right to be wrong.
And live to be accountable.
And not die. You have the right to be wrong and live to go to court. You have the right to be wrong and live to be convicted. You got the right to be wrong.
Yeah.
You have the right to be wrong. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to defend that it's okay for you to be wrong. But what I am going to defend is that you have the right to be wrong.
Period.
And not have to die.
Yeah.
And you got the right to say, I cannot promise you will not kill our children. But somebody got to be willing to say, you won't kill mine for free. I have to be willing to say that for mine. You got to be willing to say that for yours. Everybody has to be willing to say, them are the people that I deal with. You will not kill my child for free.
Not and sleep well at night.
You won't kill mine for free. You just can't do it for free.
Yeah.
Everybody got a mama. Everybody got a daddy. Everybody got a family somewhere. And we're not saying our children are saints. They're not. But guess what? Just like nobody else's children are saints. So if them same police departments understand that white folks can shoot at the police, and they do. White folks can lead them on chases cross counties, and they do. They can get caught with dope. They can throw rocks, sticks, bottles, fight, steal police cars. They can do all that shit. They can steal police weapons. They can be in standoffs for days and go to jail. They can set off pipe bombs, open fire, threaten the police. and go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
Or, hell, go home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, if you can manage to do all that for white folks,
Mm-hmm.
you could manage to do it for mine. But you believe you got the right to kill black children for sport.
Mm-hmm.
I say you don't.
Yeah.
So if they don't have any more questions or
No,
anything they want to ask,
I'm
I'm cool
seeing
with that.
no
I just
question.
want to make
Yep.
my position clear on the matter.
Thank you for taking time with me.
Absolutely.
I'm absolutely clear. Peace.
Peace and love.
So it was super duper glitchy.